Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being here. Woo! Having some fun today. We need a little release, don't we? We just need a nice little laugh. And thanks to that woman, Sunita, we got it. April is the time of year when green thumbs start thinking about beautiful buds and enjoying the bounty from their garden. Kendall and her mom are back with their monthly book club, and this time, all the books, as you can imagine and guess, are garden themed.
Mom, your first one is The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan.
Right. When you said gardening books, I, of course, went in a completely different direction because I'm not really a great gardener. So I went to a really good mystery and also a historical fiction, which we both love. The first one, The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan, set in 1942 Britain. They are reeling from a food shortage caused by the embargoes and all the things from the war, of course. And the women are urged to stay calm and carry on in the kitchen, thus the kitchen front instead of the war front. And they're supposed to do this even with the terrible food rations that they're imposing upon them. Anyway, so to help them, the BBC, this was an actual program that really did happen back during World War II. It was called The Kitchen Front, and it was hosted by, wait for it, a man. Of course, they really needed a woman's touch in this program, so they decided that they were going to start a contest, like a cooking contest. They'd have three different episodes. The first would be the entree, and then the main meal, and then a dessert. And these women from all over tried to get on the show because it would completely change their lives to be a host of this very important BBC broadcast show. They narrowed it down to 4 women. They had to use things that were in their rationing coupons to make these delicious, delectable meals. So it follows these 4 women that were chosen. They're extremely different from different walks of life, different points of view, but it follows them and how they all came together for this cooking show. I found this book was extremely wonderfully filled with rich detail about history and the World War and what actually happened to people during that period. They had greatly developed characters. They started as competitors, then they slowly become comrades. And it was well researched and realistic, and I highly recommend it. The next one also has a garden, but in a little more diabolical way, which I'm not going to get into, but you have to read the book to see what it is. It's called Recipe for a Perfect Wife. I chose this book to read first because I love the cover. Very retro, very vintage looking, housewife from the 1950s type of thing. So it starts off where you're following Alice Hale, our protagonist, who I didn't love her character, but her character was great. That kind of person where you're kind of like, oh, she is not a nice person, but you really like the book. So she's given up this great publicist career in her beloved town of New York City and has followed her husband, who wants to move to the suburbs. He chooses this pretty much dilapidated fixer-upper for them to live in. And then he goes back to work every day in New York. So she is all alone, very lonely, very unmoored, doesn't know what to do without her career, and has decided to write a novel. As a, she's basically a journalist, so that's a great idea, but she can't quite get her head wrapped around what she's going to do. So she spends her days walking through this fixer-upper home, checking out the now overgrown garden off to the side. She finds herself in the basement, finds this big box full of vintage cookbooks and recipes. She becomes captivated by the previous owner of the cookbooks. Her name was Nellie Murdoch, who you will love. She's a 1950s housewife. And Alice begins feeling strangely compelled to start doing all these recipes in this book. And as she does this, she also realizes Nellie has given away a lot of her secrets from her life along the edges of the cookbook. Also, highly recommend this book. Okay. Very much not gardening, but kind of.
Mine are actual gardening books. They're Perennials for Minnesota and Wisconsin. This really helped me build my perennial garden at home. Usually when you find perennials that you like or books that talk about good perennials, you have to kind of figure out if they work in your soil and where you live. And oftentimes Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's too cold here to grow a lot of stuff. So this was really helpful, a lot of with the planning and how you can get things started, and then going into the specifics, recommendations of each of the flowers that they think grow really well here, along with details about care, their specific names versus their names that maybe you know them by. And then the other one is the Cut Flower Garden. Now, if you watch Discovery, you know that on the Magnolia Network, they have Floret Farms. It's actually by that woman that's about Erin. You're on the cover, and then she's in that show. This one's all just about cut garden, though. So it's not necessarily perennials. Some are, but a lot of it is annuals. I really like the details about how you prepare, what kinds of things you're gonna need. And then once you get into it, she has spring, summer, fall, and winter about the good flowers that grow in that time, and then things that you should be doing in your garden.
I had the same observation each time.
What?
Let's just be clear. I love you. You're a permanent part of the show.
And?
Your mother, she knows she's the star of that.
She is.
You can tell.
I know.
She couldn't care less about you in that.
I know. She's
She's
just rolls
off.
right over me.
You go right to her. You, as we say in the business, we toss over. You toss over to her. Pew! Secretariat. She's off.
Yep.
She doesn't need you.
Nope.
She doesn't need you. No back and forth. No.
Nope.
She has this.
She's got it
She's
under
got
control.
it. She has the whole package under control. I love it. Anyway, that coffee table book's beautiful, though, all kidding aside.
Yeah, the Floret Farms one, the cut flowers garden.
Yeah.
If you're looking to give someone something, it's a beautiful just coffee table book to look at too.
Substantial.
Yes.
Substantial. Looks good on the coffee table. If you missed any of the book recommendations from Kendall and her mom, we'll be posting this segment on our Facebook and YouTube pages a little bit later. Just give us a little bit of time. Just search for Jason Show TV. My dear friends, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.